Most people think freedom is about money. It isn't. Money is only the surface layer. It's the receipt, not the source. Money is permission. Permission to move. Permission to say no. Permission to stop pretending you agree. But permission is not power. Power comes from control. And the real cage most people live inside isn't financial, it's psychological. You don't stay trapped because you don't earn enough. You stay trapped because your thinking is owned. Owned by systems you didn't design. Rules you never voted on. Timelines you absorbed before you were old enough to question them. And once your thinking is owned, your outcomes become predictable. That predictability is not an accident, it's the point. The system doesn't need to stop you outright. That would create resistance. It conditions you instead, quietly, gradually, early. Because a controlled mind is far more valuable than a broken one. A broken person fights. A conditioned person complies and calls it choice. That's the game. Most people believe they're choosing their life. They're not. They're choosing from a menu someone else designed. Education, career, debt, retirement. Pick one. Stay busy. Don't ask who benefits. You're told life is about balance, that success takes time, that everyone gets their turn if they're patient enough. Comforting ideas, none of them create power. Systems don't reward patience. They reward positioning, leverage, timing, asymmetry. Almost no one is taught leverage. They're taught effort. Work harder. Be consistent. Stay humble. Trust the process. Effort feels virtuous. It's also controllable. Effort keeps people tired, not dangerous. Leverage changes the math. Effort is linear. Leverage is exponential. Effort trades time for money. Leverage detaches income from time entirely. That's why leverage is discouraged, because leverage creates imbalance. And systems hate imbalance unless they control it. So ambition gets reframed as greed. Speed gets reframed as recklessness. Winning early gets reframed as luck. Meanwhile, the people who actually win don't wait. They move before permission exists. They position before rules change. They study incentives, not narratives. The system doesn't hide from you, it overwhelms you. Busy enough to never zoom out. Busy enough to confuse motion with progress. Busy enough to mistake exhaustion for achievement. That's why modern life feels draining but unproductive. You're always doing something, rarely building anything that compounds, because leverage requires stillness, and stillness leads to pattern recognition, which is dangerous. Patterns expose repetition. Repetition exposes control. So instead, you're trained to upgrade your resume, not your autonomy. Your lifestyle, not your leverage. Your income, not your optionality. That's the trade. Comfort in exchange for compliance, security in exchange for dependence. Time is the most misunderstood weapon in the system. Time is not neutral. It compounds for you or against you. If your income stops when you stop, you're not free, you're just well paid. And the system loves well-paid prisoners. They defend the cage. They explain why escape is unrealistic, why risk is irresponsible, why ambition should be delayed. They mistake fear for wisdom. The system also manages identity. Labels get applied early: hard worker, responsible one, reliable, smart but cautious, creative but broke. Once you accept the label, you protect it. You make decisions to stay consistent with an identity you never consciously chose. That's control, not enforcement. Internalization. You police yourself, you hesitate before moving fast. You downplay ambition so it sounds reasonable. You explain your goals to avoid judgment. The system isn't evil, it's efficient. Unpredictable people are expensive. Independent thinkers disrupt flows. Unaligned actors break forecasts. So edges get softened, outliers get normalized, ambition gets sanded down, comfort keeps people docile, discomfort creates questions, and questions lead to exits. That's why buying is easy, but building is hard. Scrolling is effortless, but thinking is exhausting. Entertainment is endless, but silence is rare. Silence is dangerous. Silence lets you notice patterns. Why am I tired if I'm doing everything right? Why does progress feel slower every year? Why is everyone busy but stuck? The system answers those questions for you. You need more credentials, more patience, more discipline, never more leverage. Speed is taboo for a reason. Fast movers expose inefficiencies. They reveal how artificial the barriers really are. So speed gets labeled reckless, while slow suffering gets praised as virtue. Endurance is only noble when escape is impossible. When escape is possible, endurance is compliance. Money logic isn't about income, it's about control. Who sets the terms? Who controls the flow? Who can walk away? If you can't walk away, you don't have power, you have obligation. And obligation makes people predictable. Debt anchors future behavior. It narrows choice. It turns tomorrow into a hostage. That's why so many people feel stuck but not lazy. They don't lack motivation, they lack leverage. Leverage lives where attention is mispriced, where narratives lag reality, where systems haven't adapted yet, but finding it requires moving early. And being early feels like being wrong, lonely, unvalidated, uncomfortable. Most people quit there. They need reassurance, they need validation, they need permission. Leverage doesn't give feedback immediately, it compounds quietly. Distraction is the tax that prevents this. Attention is currency. Every scroll leaks it. Every notification fractures it. You cannot compound while bleeding focus. Consumption feels productive. It isn't. It leaves no residue. Creation does. Once you stop asking how to win inside the system and start asking how the system wins through you, everything changes. You stop personalizing failure, you stop internalizing delay, you stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what does the system reward. That question alone dissolves guilt. You realize exhaustion is not a personal flaw, it's a predictable outcome. You realize most advice is designed to stabilize people, not free them. Stable systems don't like independent actors. Independent actors change outcomes. That's why freedom feels antisocial at first. You say no more, you explain less, you disappear longer. People notice. Not because you're wrong, because you're deviating. Deviation exposes how fragile the system really is, and fragility is always hidden behind confidence. The system projects certainty. Certainty calms people. Uncertainty wakes them up. That's why morality is taught before logic. Hard work is good. Risk is dangerous. Ambition should be modest. Morality is easier to enforce than logic. Logic invites questions. Questions invite exits. Once you see incentives instead of narratives, you stop judging yourself. You stop asking what you should do and start asking what benefits from your behavior. Freedom isn't rare because it's impossible. It's rare because it's uncomfortable before it's obvious. The system doesn't stop you, it waits you out. Most people never leave because they keep waiting for certainty. Certainty only comes after movement, never before. Freedom rewards those who move without guarantees. The system rewards those who wait for permission. You only get to choose one. And once you see the door, you can't unsee it.